Our next story is from Africa, from the continent's most populated country and the fourth largest African economy.
For our next story, let's shift focus to Central Africa, a volatile region and a hotbed for armed conflicts and instability.
This time, more than 150 people were abducted.
A convoy rolls through the night, a thin line of headlights cutting across an empty stretch of land between Maiduguri and Baga. The drivers don't speak. The passengers barely move. Everyone knows that traveling after sunset is a gamble, and tonight the stakes feel unusually high. Then it happens. A sudden jolt, a metallic crunch, tires explode. The convoy tilts sideways as the lead vehicle hits a chain of nail-studded iron bars stretched across the dirt road. Before anyone can react, figures emerge from the darkness, silent, coordinated, and heavily armed. Within seconds, rifles are aimed at windshields, doors are ripped open, and terrified passengers are dragged into the night. The entire ambush lasts 6 minutes. When the dust settles, the vehicles remain, but the people are gone. What happened on that quiet road wasn't just an attack, it was a transaction. The latest entry in a growing criminal marketplace built on human lives. What you're about to hear is not theory. It is a real economy, thriving in the shadows of the Lake Chad Basin. An economy where fear is the currency and captivity is the product. The night the ambush became an industry. The convoy attack wasn't unique. It wasn't extraordinary. That's the tragedy. Across Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, and Chad, kidnappings have become so common that families wait for ransom calls the way others wait for bank notifications. In the Lake Chad region, abduction is no longer just violence, it is business. For armed groups, it's profit. For communities, it's survival. For the region, it has become a tragic equilibrium. The ambush near Baga mirrored dozens of similar strikes executed over recent months. The method was identical: spike barriers, rapid surround, forced extraction, silent retreat into forest or marshland. The attackers moved like men repeating a well-practiced routine. Because they were. Kidnapping has become the economic engine of an entire criminal ecosystem, an enterprise run with the precision of a multinational operation. To understand how such brutality became profitable, we must step into a world where borders mean little, phones are weapons, and human beings are bargaining chips traded across invisible networks. The anatomy of a kidnapping market. From the outside, a kidnapping looks chaotic. From the inside, it is organized, structured, and disturbingly predictable. Groups operating around Lake Chad have perfected a system with its own pricing models, logistic routes, negotiation specialists, and financial pipelines. Victims are not just hostages, they are inventory, assessed, categorized, and assigned value based on age, gender, profession, and perceived wealth. Often the kidnappers already know who can pay before they even strike. This system follows 4 silent steps: identification, targeting, abduction, monetization. It begins with intelligence. Informants feed kidnappers information about travelers, merchants, soldiers, aid workers, or school children. Some are coerced, others are paid. A few operate inside institutions meant to protect civilians. Once a target is selected, the ambush is planned with minimal risk and maximum reward. A road chosen, a time selected, a strike team assembled, a safe route prepared, a hideout ready. After the abduction comes the most critical phase, negotiation. This is where the kidnapping stops being crime and becomes commerce. The ransom call hours after the convoy vanished, the phones began ringing. A mother, a brother, a merchant, a local district leader. The voices on the other end were calm and certain. They announced the names of the captives, they listed the new rules, and then the demand, a fixed sum in local currency or dollars, depending on the victim. Prices are rarely random. A farmer might cost $200, a business owner $5,000, a foreign worker $50,000 or more. Kidnappers know exactly what each household can gather. They know which families have relatives abroad. They know who owns livestock, who can sell land, and who has community support. Their intelligence web is deeper than most imagine. Most families cannot pay, and yet they must. Villages pool money to save their own. Families borrow from relatives in cities. Community leaders negotiate quietly. And if payment is impossible, captives are sold to other groups for reuse, traded like commodities in a marketplace that values profit over human life. In this economy, release is not mercy. It is transaction. Inside the negotiation network, the negotiation chain is long, layered, and deliberately confusing. At the bottom are the foot soldiers, the ones who execute the abduction. But the real power lies elsewhere. Negotiators act as intermediaries, speaking both the language of ransom and the language of fear. These brokers describe their work as neutral, a service helping families rescue loved ones, but their commissions are built into the ransom. Every transaction benefits them too. Then come the financial couriers, those who move ransom money across borders using cash swaps, mobile transfers, unregistered SIM cards, smuggling routes, hawala networks without paper trails. From there, the money ascends. Leaders take their cut, weapons suppliers get paid, corrupt officials receive bribes, foot soldiers get wages, informants receive bonuses. It is a complete economic cycle. Cash enters as ransom and exits as firepower. Every payment strengthens the system. Every release funds the next abduction. Where the money goes. Follow the money long enough, and the true nature of this economy appears. Ransom cash does not simply enrich criminals. It fuels the region's conflicts. Large portions of ransom funding are used to purchase assault rifles from Libya, buy motorcycles from dealers who ask no questions, acquire fuel, radios, and satellite phones, pay smugglers controlling border corridors, reward fighters and bribe officials. Often, ransom money ends up financing insurgent movements that control territory around Lake Chad. These groups invest in weapons, propaganda, and recruitment, all from cash extracted from terrified families. The kidnapping industry is not just crime, it is war finance, and it is one of the most lucrative funding models in modern conflict zones. The informant web nothing sustains the kidnapping economy more than information. Without intelligence, kidnappers would be blind. With intelligence, they become unstoppable. Informants exist everywhere. Some are villagers threatened with violence. Some are insiders in local government. Some are corrupt police officers. Some low-ranking employees in transport companies. Some relatives of the victims. The kidnapping market does not rely on random luck. It relies on networks of people who sell knowledge, willingly or not. A traveler's route, a merchant's income, a family's savings, a school's schedule, a convoy's security level. In this economy, information is the most valuable commodity. The geography of captivity. Once abducted, victims are taken into a labyrinth of hiding places. The Lake Chad Basin is not just a region, it is a fortress of natural cover. Marshlands, floating islands, thick forests, hidden camps. Rivers impossible to track. Captives are often moved every few days, blindfolded, bound, or forced onto motorcycles. The terrain is so complex that even aerial surveillance struggles to track movement. Many captives describe hearing boats at night, indicating transfer routes across waterways that cut between borders. Others recall long marches through vegetation, guided by whispers and gun barrels. In these camps, the captors behave like businessmen protecting assets. Some captives are fed to keep them alive for ransom. Others are beaten to accelerate negotiation. Some forced to work, some sold, some never return. The hidden brokers of violence. Behind every kidnapping network is a quiet hierarchy. The people you never see. The ones who never touch a weapon. The financiers. They operate far from ambush sites, sometimes in cities, sometimes across borders. Their role is critical. They supply capital, receive profits, and manage ransom cash through businesses or laundering operations. These individuals rarely appear in police reports. They use legal fronts, shops, transport companies, trading enterprises. They protect themselves with legitimate income streams, and they reinvest in the kidnapping economy the way investors reinvest in markets. This hidden class of beneficiaries is the real engine of the kidnapping business. As long as they profit, abductors will never run out of funding, weapons, or motivation. Why the system doesn't collapse? The kidnapping economy survives not because it is powerful, but because everything around it is weak. Weak policing, weak borders, weak infrastructure, weak economic opportunities, weak trust between communities and governments, weak enforcement of law in rural areas. Combine these weaknesses and you create the perfect environment for a criminal enterprise to flourish. The Lake Chad region is exactly that environment. Years of insurgency have shattered institutions. Climate change has destroyed farmland. Unemployment has left thousands desperate. Roads are unsafe, villages isolated. Fear dictates life. In a region where income has dried up, kidnapping becomes a job, a profitable one. And when crime becomes the best-paying profession, dismantling it becomes nearly impossible. The Convoy revisited. In the Convoy ambush, the ransom process unfolded as expected. Messages, negotiations, threats, and eventual payment. Some captives were released, some escaped during raids, some transferred to other groups, some disappeared. Their fate illustrates how this economy functions. Money flows, people are traded, stories end quietly. No headlines, no justice, no closure. Just another transaction in a business that thrives on silence. The human cost economies can be measured. Markets can be mapped, financial flows traced, but the suffering inside this marketplace cannot be quantified. Survivors describe months of hunger, fingers broken for refusing to cooperate, children forced to witness torture, families selling everything to buy freedom, communities losing leaders who never return, villages paying tribute to avoid attacks. Entire generations grow up knowing that anyone can vanish at any time. This is what an economy of fear looks like. It is efficient, it is rational, it is sustainable. And that is what makes it so terrifying. The kidnapping economy of the Lake Chad Basin has become more than a crime wave. It is a system linking criminals, insurgents, informants, brokers, and corrupt officials. It thrives because instability sustains it. It grows because ransoms feed it. The night that Convoy was taken was not an exception. It was the rule. A rule shaping millions of lives. A rule governed by money, fear, and power. A rule turning human life into a commodity traded in shadows. If the region does not rebuild its institutions, its trust, and its economic opportunities, the kidnapping economy will not disappear. It will expand. The Lake Chad kidnapping economy is not just a regional tragedy. It is a blueprint for future conflict economies, a warning written in fear and silence. If you want to keep uncovering the hidden systems, subscribe now and hit the bell icon. Because the next story we reveal may already be forming, unseen, unchecked, and dangerously close. Stay aware, stay informed, and never underestimate the power of an economy built on fear.